And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who has appeared and is present in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, in my most previous video lesson, which is called America Has Fallen, I told you that black people were not citizens of America. Allah has placed it upon my heart to show you why, literally and legally, you are not citizens of America. I need not remind you that we were brought to America as slaves. As such, we were considered mere property and not human beings. Remember, the Declaration of the Independence of America in 1776 stated the following: We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. We were slaves in 1776 in America, so obviously this Declaration of Independence does not apply to us, the black people of America. Moving forward, in 1856, a black man by the name of Dred Scott tried to assert that he was a citizen of America when he sued his slave master in court for his freedom. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that a free Negro of the African race, whose ancestors were brought to this country and sold as slaves, whether or not emancipated from slavery, emancipated being free, whether or not emancipated from slavery, is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. Supreme Court went on further to hold the following: the words people of the United States and citizens are synonymous terms and mean the same thing. They both describe the political body who, according to our republican institutions, form the sovereignty and who hold the power and conduct the government through their representatives. They are what we familiarly call the sovereign people. And every citizen is one of this people and a constituent member of this sovereignty. Lastly, the court said they, black people, were not, or at the time, considered as a subordinate and inferior class of beings who had been subjugated by a dominant race, and whether emancipated or not, yet remained subject to their authority, and had no rights or privileges but such as those who held the power, and the government might choose to grant them. Okay, what does the word emancipate mean? Emancipate means to be free from restraint, control, or the power of another, especially to free from bondage. Okay, so what happened a few years later after the Civil War? In 1865, the slaves were freed or emancipated from America. President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Let's talk about this. Black people were emancipated. Emancipated from who? We were emancipated from America. What does this mean? Okay, what happens when a child or a minor is emancipated from their parents? If a child goes to court and gets emancipated from their parent, that means they are free to leave the home of their parents and strike out on their own and provide for themselves. That emancipated child does not become a co-owner of their parents' home. That child does not gain a vote or say of what happens in their parents' house. Okay, but what happens if a child gets emancipated but refuses or does not leave the house of his parent? That child remains subject to the authority of the parent. Do you understand? Remember, black people are considered to be subordinate and inferior class of beings who have been subjugated by the dominant race, and whether emancipated or not, remain subject to their authority. So you see, when the black slaves were emancipated or freed in 1865, that was just it. They were emancipated. They were free to leave America. They were now free slaves and not sovereign citizens. If we are not citizens of America, then what are we? We are strangers, aliens, foreigners from another land. The court in Dred Scott noted the following: nothing could more strongly mark the entire repudiation of the African race. The alien is excluded because, being born in a foreign country, he cannot be a member of the community until he is naturalized. But why are the African race born in the state not permitted to share in one of the highest duties of the citizen? The answer is obvious. He is not, by the institutions and laws of the state, numbered among its people. He forms no part of the sovereignty of the state and is therefore is not therefore called upon to uphold and defend it. So the only way an alien or foreigner is able to become a citizen of America is that they must undergo the legal process of naturalization. When the process of naturalization was established in America on March 26, 1790, this right was confined to white people, meaning they specifically said that to become a to be eligible to become a natural citizen of America is only available to aliens, being free white persons. This was the law in 1790. Well, we were emancipated in 1865, but under the law since 1790, we were not eligible to be naturalized citizens of America. Okay, well, in 1870, 5 years after we were emancipated, Congress amended the Naturalization Act. That act went on to say, and be it further enacted, that the naturalization laws are hereby extended to aliens of African nativity and to persons of African descent. Okay, what does this mean? This means that Africans are eligible to become naturalized citizens. It does not mean that you are now a citizen. It means that you are eligible. So in 1870, the emancipated slaves became eligible to become a citizen through naturalization. Naturalization is a legal process. This means that you have the right to go to court and petition America to become a citizen. Okay, so what happens during this naturalization process? How do you become naturalized? To become a naturalized citizen, you must recite the oath of allegiance. Excuse me. The United States oath of allegiance is as follows: I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been subject or citizen. That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. The crux of the oath that we are concerned with and that I'm trying to point out to you is the following. The oath states that you absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, or another country, in other words. Listen to me carefully. The emancipated slaves did not petition any court in America to be naturalized and swear the oath of allegiance. Number two, even if they did attempt to become naturalized citizens of America and swear the oath, they could not truthfully do so. They could not truthfully give the oath because they did not know who they were and where they were from. Remember, we don't even know our names. Just about all black people in America have slave names. Your name might be Smith, Jones, Woods, Perkins, Chestnut. These are not our names. We don't know who we are. And the slaves, once emancipated from 1865, didn't know where they were from. So what does this mean? Okay, as a legal matter, if you don't know who you are or where you from, in a legal matter, that means you are incompetent. So, in a legal sense, the emancipated slaves who were uneducated, didn't know how to read and write, didn't know their names, didn't know where they were from, they were, even if they was to try to walk into a court, in a legal sense, they were incompetent. They were not mentally capable of renouncing a foreign power or Africa where they were from, because they didn't even know where they were from. So what does this mean? As a matter of law, our parents and their descendants, which is you and me, are foreign nationals of another land. We are not citizens of America.
Why did you join the Air Corps? Cadet.
Sir.
I don't like repeating myself, Cadet.
Serve my country, sir.
Your country. Boy, are you stupid?
No, sir.
You people. Now, don't you know how bad we treat you people? Serving your country? This ain't your country. Your country's full of apes and gorillas, malaria, missionaries.